All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Highlight Reel. I know it's been a little minute. I've been on a mini hiatus. Some of that was on purpose. I want to say most of that was not. There have been a few things going on in my life within the last few weeks that have contributed to me not dropping any episodes or anything like that. And I've wanted to, but I figured why not take this little break? I've been doing a lot for this season, so I figured why not take a little break. But again, some of that was unintentional, and I think it's very ironic that we come back from this mini hiatus trying to shoot this episode because this is one of those episodes that I didn't want to make just because I don't want to rant. I don't just always want to rant about my life, even though part of the purpose of the of the podcast is just I don't want to rant about my life and then not have a point. So I've been trying to make sure that whatever I'm feeling, I have a point. But there's this, I've just been experiencing some things recently that have been making me wonder what is the point of what's happening. Because recently, I've just experienced a lot of people saying one thing and then maybe doing another as far as when it comes to me. And I've just been taking the time to think about that and trying to figure out what that is, or if there's something wrong with me, or if there's something wrong with other people. I don't know necessarily which one to speak to, but it's just been something that's been going on with me because, again, people have been showing me one thing and then doing another. And again, like I try to make sure I have a point because I'm thinking that, I'm in my mid-20s now, crazy, but pretty sure that there are a lot of people that have been experiencing the same thing as far as feeling this way and just trying to navigate their relationships in their lives now because a lot of things are changing. Of course, in your 20s, you graduating from college, trying to get jobs in your field, or you finding love, you're not finding love. There are just so many different dynamics that are going on at once in our lives. And it just seems like recently I've been realizing, or it's been seeming like a lot of people say one thing and then do another when it comes to me. And that has had me feeling kind of unimportant. I'll be honest, that's the main word that's been coming up, unimportant, insignificant, small. These are things I've been feeling recently because, again, people will say one thing and then do another. So, for example, these might seem small, but over time, you would think they add up. So if people tell me, hey, they want to hang out, they want to do something or whatever, and then the day of, they don't say anything, I don't know about you, but to me, that's, I have an issue with that. Because your words and your actions, they both matter. One outweighs the other. And it seems like a lot of people have been showing to me, or recently, I'm trying not to take it personal, which we'll get into in a little bit, but people will say one thing and then do another regarding me. And it's been making me feel really weird because I'm thinking, dang, I don't do that to you. So why do you do that to me? Usually if I say something to you, because it's very rare I'm going to say something to you, mean it, and then not do anything about it, right? If I say, hey, I want to hang out with you, I'm going to make time for it. Or, hey, I want to see you. I'm going to see you. I'm going to make time to see you. Just if I say it, it's almost like word is bond, right? So if I say it, I got to show up because I'm trying to prove you and me right that when I say this, it's going to happen. And it's not always the case with many people. Try not to fault them too much, but it adds up over time. So that's why I think it's ironic that we come back to shoot this episode because, again, I didn't really want to shoot this. I was feeling really, I guess, emotional. And I want to make sure I can work through my thoughts. But this is something that kind of just hasn't been making sense to me. So I've been trying to figure out what's going on. because I know a lot of people they'll feel this. They wondering the same thing. Is it me? Is it them? What's the problem? Should I just back off? Should I maybe reach out even more? And then, just being a man, I didn't want to come off as emotional, like I'm crying about it or anything. But I figured, let's talk through it. Let's work through it. Let's figure something out. But I've been talking to some friends and family recently, within the last few days, about this feeling I was feeling as far as being unimportant, insignificant, like people don't care about me, different things like that, which none of these are great feelings. None of these are great feelings. If you've never felt this, kudos to you. Recently, I've been feeling it in flux. I've been feeling it all the time. I've been feeling it a lot. So I've been thinking, okay, what's the problem? Because I'm guessing it's me. The only thing that's consistent in all of these situations with these different people, the only thing that's consistent is me, right? So I'm thinking maybe it's something wrong with me. But I would think that if you say you're going to do something and then not do it, especially if you're going, if you're making plans with someone or you're trying to see someone, hang out, whatever, you say one thing with them and you agree for you to not show up, I would think that both parties think that's not okay. But maybe that's not the case. I know for me, I'm not really okay with that, but that's what I've been experiencing. And I think some of that comes from people's social anxiety, which I'm trying to understand, or I can understand, but I'm not a very socially anxious person. But I know some people are very socially anxious. Then I hate to just point fingers to social media all the time, but social media plays a part in it because people will say one thing and then do another because they're not right in your face, which is what a few people have been saying to me. They're not in your face. So they can kind of lie like that, or they can just say one thing and not have to really worry about the consequences because you're nowhere near them. They're not going to feel as affected because you're not in their face. They're not right next to you. Or even if you are, they trying to call you or text you. If you're not right next to them, they could just not pick up. But that has played a part into it. The whole ghosting culture, people saying whatever, then not doing whatever. It's just a lot that goes into that. So again, social anxiety, social media, and then what people have been telling me is, people don't necessarily have to explain their actions to you, which I understand. I understand. I would just think that you would help me understand what's going on in this situation. Whomever I may be speaking to, whatever would be happening, I'm hoping you would help me understand that, right? But that's not always the case. That's a privilege, but it's not just a right. People are just going to always give you that. So I've been trying to take all of these different things into account as far as how I feel and what's going on, because like I said, when these actions from many different people show up, it makes me think, dang, I must be cut from a different cloth or something. But dang, does that mean y'all all the same? And y'all all are different people that have nothing to do with each other, but y'all are all cut the same? I'm thinking that can't be the case either if we all cut from different cloths, right? Okay, whatever. But I'm taking all these things into account because I know just because people say one thing and then they don't follow through doesn't mean they don't care about you. That's not the truth. I would hope that's not the truth. But some people just have their moment, and maybe everyone is just having that weak moment at the same time or around the same times, right? Like I said, if you're in your mid-20s, if many of us are in our mid-20s around right now, we're probably feeling a lot of the same things, right? So that's a factor. But oh my gosh, it's just confusing. It's confusing. But I'm trying to make my own understanding of it. So people may feel, they just might feel like I don't have to explain anything to you. Okay. So that to me makes it basically takes away the bridge between the communication of the two people. Okay. So they're not explaining anything. So here I am confused. But some people are socially anxious. So that's why it's hard for them to explain this. But then social media also can make it to where you can say one thing and then you don't have to worry about communication. But also there are socially anxious people that use social media. So these are all different factors. We all have our own lives going. People don't move on the same time as you. I've been understanding that as well. I knew that, but I'm really getting my own serious understanding of that now. So in that, I've just been learning that you know, your standards are not their standards, or our standards are not the same, and that's okay. But it's it's sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow, because like, dang, I wanted to do this with you. You said we can, maybe we can't, or you're saying we can, then you don't. You show me that we can't, right? Okay, so these are just some things that I've been learning, and I'm trying not to take it personal, which has probably been the hardest part about all of this, because again, I know if I say one thing, I plan to show up, and I pretty much will show up. If I cannot, I will explain, right? Okay, I'm also an extrovert. I know that extremely well. I'm very extroverted. I'm a super extrovert. I love being around people. That's where I get my energy. That's not the case for everybody. Some people like to be alone in their complete silence by themselves. That's where they get their energy. That's how they recoup. But so for me, maybe that's why it's a little harder for me, because I'm like, oh, we said this. Can we do that? No? Oh, okay. Shoot. Well, I'm not going to be with this person, so that can be a little draining, where it's hard for me to get my energy back. But without taking it personal, I'm trying not to take it personal, because it's not always about me. It's not always about you. It's not always about them either. Sometimes it's just whatever it might be going on. It's like, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's just whatever the situation is. So I've been trying to deal with all of that over the last few months, because I recently had a birthday. That was cool, but I was feeling weird around that time as well, like unimportant or something. It was really weird. So me trying to deal with all these different things, has been weird for me to come back to talk about this, because I didn't want this to be just a ranting episode. I didn't, but I wanted to make sense of it, and hopefully you, the viewer, watcher, whatever, maybe this can help you as well, because I'm pretty sure you felt this before, or you might feel it at some point. And I know that I've been feeling it very heavily recently. It's kind of taking a toll on my mental health, I'm not going to lie. Just, being an extrovert, you like being around people, but when these things happen, it takes a toll, and it's just been happening in succession, like time after time after time, within a short time frame, within, months. So I'm thinking, dang, what does this mean? Is this a sign? Is this, God trying to tell me I need to be by myself right now? I need to be alone, be in my own solitude, which I don't mind. I think it's just, I was going to set time for that, and this was just not that time yet. But, you have to, I guess, roll the punches. So I've been trying to learn what's going on with that, how I've been feeling, what is the issue? Am I the issue? Are they the issue? I'm not the issue. I don't want to say that they are the issue either, but life be lifing. Life is going to do what it does, and you just have to be understanding of the situation on both sides. Because for me, I was trying not to come off as spoiled, ungrateful, like, everything revolves around me. That's not how I feel either. It's just, I can pick up a pattern. If this is happening with this person, then it happens again, then it happens again. And these are with different people, though. Makes me think, okay, so these are different people, so what's the consistency? Me. Okay, so it's me? No, it's not me, but it's not them. You see how that can be confusing? But I'm one of understanding. I try to find understanding in whatever this conflict or this situation may be. And this is where I just learned that sometimes your standards and their standards are not the same. That's just what it is. That's a hard pill to swallow, but that is life. You might think one thing, you might say, okay, if I say this, I'm going to follow through. If I can't, I will explain. Others, you can't always expect that of them, because they're not you. So however you are, you can't expect the same. You can't expect someone else to be you. And I don't expect others to be me, but this is something that still confuses me a little. It's like, dang, I can't get an explanation, or I can't get this, I can't get that. But sometimes things just happen, and you can't take it personal. Again, hard for me to learn personally, but you can't take it personal, because, again, they're not you. They live their own lives. They do things different. They have their own traumas. I mean, if we want to really take it there, they have their own traumas. There are different things that they deal with, just like you have your own. I think this is maybe something that possibly triggers me, I guess. We won't maybe get too much into that, But when people say something and they don't follow through, that I would say triggers me, and it confuses me, really. I'm like, you could have said no. You could have just said you couldn't do that. You could have just said that, right? Not always the case. Again, this is me placing expectations on them, which is not fair because, again, they're not me. So, yeah, I'm in a confused space as of right now. Very confused space, very conflicted. But I'm just trying to understand what's been going on, because I don't want to feel how I'm feeling, but I also want to understand how else the other person is feeling. Like, if something isn't working out, if something's wrong, tell me so I can understand and I won't just feel so confused or flaked on or whatever. And again, this just feels weird even talking about, because it's personal. Not that I don't care to talk about personal things, but trying to make sure I have a point. So again, you can't always take it personal, because people are not you and your standards are not the same. My standards are not your standards. My expectations are not your expectations. They're not always going to be sometimes they're going to be the same. And if they are, that's a blessing. But a lot of times they're not. So just keep that in mind with whatever you may be going through, whatever you may be feeling as far as regarding other people. Because again, recently I've been feeling very small, unimportant, insignificant. And I know that's not the case. I don't want to seem like I'm looking for attention, for people to tell me, oh, you're so important to me. I know I'm important to certain people, right? But there is still some times where you just can't shake it. And I think this is where me as a man, I'm fighting with all these different things. Like, dang, I don't know what's going on. I want to talk to somebody, but I don't want to seem ungrateful or spoiled and, all these different things. I'm just trying to make sense of it. But this is kind of why I've been on a hiatus. I've been trying to figure that out. And trying to make sure I can make sense of it, because it's been a really weird feeling. I don't get too down too often. So when I do, I'm really, really confused, and I'm really trying to reflect and figure out what's going on with me and what's going on in whatever my situation may be, so I can identify what needs to be changed or shifted so I can better my mental, better my situation, better my circumstance. So yeah, just try not to take it personal. People are doing their own thing. Life happens differently to all of us, but it's happening all at once. So just remember, your standards are not their standards. They're not the same, and that's okay. Just try to be understanding of it, and I'm sure you'll work your way through it. But it's a short episode and everything, but I wanted to break that down because this is something that I've been feeling. I've been really confused, but I'm trying to make my way with it. I'm trying to make my own understanding of it. But again, this has been your episode of The Highlight Reel. I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching, for tuning in, and I hope that you took something helpful away from it. And with that being said, peace out.